What makes you consciousness? The internal movie of sights, sounds, and feelings has puzzled thinkers for centuries. The higher-order thought, hot theory, offers a bold answer. We're only conscious of a mental state when we have a thought that state. Imagine your mind as a city, full of activity, but only what's spotlighted by a higher-order thought becomes conscious. Consciousness, then, isn't just raw data. It's the brain's commentary on itself. For example, sadness isn't conscious just because it exists. It becomes conscious when you think, I am sad. This higher-order thought tags the feeling, elevating it into awareness. Without that meta-thought, the feeling might still affect you, but you wouldn't have the subjective experience of it. Hot theory separates mental states from the experience of them, challenging our intuition that experiences are direct. When you stub your toe, the pain feels immediate, but hot theory suggests your brain rapidly generates a thought about the pain, making it conscious. Like a movie made of still frames, consciousness is layered, built from thoughts about thoughts. This idea, rooted in philosophy from Locke to Rosenthal, reframes consciousness as a dynamic, reflective process. It's not just what happens in your mind, but what your mind notices about itself. The hot theory invites us to see consciousness as a spotlight, not a floodlight. What enters that spotlight is what we truly experience. To grasp hot theory, distinguish between first-order and higher-order mental states. First-order states are raw perceptions, seeing blue, hearing a siren, feeling hunger, constantly generated by your brain. These states exist in the background like unopened apps on your phone. Higher-order thoughts are thoughts, those first-order states. For example, seeing red is first-order. Thinking I am seeing red is higher-order. This metacognition transforms raw perception into conscious experience. Without a higher-order thought, you might act on a perception but not consciously experience it. Consider driving a familiar route. You arrive with little memory of the drive. Your brain processed the information but you weren't conscious of it. No higher-order thoughts tagged those moments. Or background noise. You don't notice the hum of a computer until it's pointed out. The moment you think, I hear that hum, it becomes conscious. Hot theory says consciousness is a selective spotlight, controlled by higher-order thoughts. It's not the perception itself that changes, but your cognitive relationship to it. This mechanism explains why some experiences fade into the background while others stand out. Consciousness, then, is not a constant flood, but a focused beam. Only what's tagged by higher-order thought enters awareness. This process is fast and often invisible, but it shapes every moment of conscious life. Hot theory reframes consciousness as an active, ongoing process. It's the mind's way of noticing itself. Is there evidence for hot theory, or is it just philosophy? Some research points in its favor. Blindsight patients, for example, can't consciously see in parts of their visual field but can still guess object locations correctly. Hot theory explains this. First-order visual information is present, but without higher-order thoughts, there's no conscious experience. Their behavior shows processing, but their lack of awareness matches hot predictions. Neuroimaging studies show increased prefrontal cortex activity when people consciously perceive something, hinting at higher-order thought formation. This area is linked to self-awareness and metacognition. Everyday life offers examples too. Learning a new skill is conscious and effortful, full of higher-order thoughts. As you master it, actions become automatic and less conscious. Higher-order monitoring fades. Consciousness is most active when we're learning or facing novelty, requiring us to think about our actions. These findings suggest hot theory captures something real about how awareness works. The evidence isn't conclusive, but it's compelling. Hot theory bridges the gap between brain activity and subjective experience. It offers a testable, scientific approach to consciousness. Hot theory faces tough criticism. Some argue that intense experiences, like pain, feel too immediate to require a second thought. Critics question whether all conscious states need a higher-order tag. Maybe some are conscious by nature. There's also the infinite regress problem. If a higher-order thought makes a state conscious, what makes the higher-order thought itself conscious? Proponents say higher-order thoughts don't need to be conscious, but this feels unsatisfying to some. Animal and infant consciousness is another challenge. Many creatures seem conscious but may lack the cognitive machinery for higher-order thoughts. If hot theory is right, are animals and infants not conscious? That's a hard pill to swallow. Critics also point out the richness of experience versus the simplicity of thoughts. Can a vague thought like "I see this room" capture all the detail we perceive? Hot theory may overestimate the power of our cognitive abilities. These challenges keep the debate alive. The theory's elegance is matched by its controversies. Hot theory isn't just academic, it shapes real-world fields. In therapy, it aligns with CBT and mindfulness, which teach us to change our experience by changing how we think about our thoughts. Neuroscience uses hot theory to target the prefrontal cortex as a possible seat of consciousness, guiding research and treatment for disorders. For AI, hot theory suggests true machine consciousness would require self-monitoring and thoughts about internal states, not just data processing. It also reframes personal identity. Our conscious self is a dynamic process of self-interpretation. We shape our reality by how we think about our inner world. Hot theory empowers us to change our conscious experience through self-awareness. To understand hot theory, compare it to global workspace theory, GWT. GWT sees consciousness as a theater. Information becomes conscious when it's broadcast on a central stage, available to all brain systems. For GWT, consciousness is about information sharing, no second thought required. Hot theory insists on a two-step process. A higher-order thought must spotlight a mental state for it to be conscious. GWT says consciousness is about being famous in the brain. Hot says it's about being the subject of a specific report. GWT predicts widespread brain activity as the neural signature. Hot points to localized metacognitive areas like the prefrontal cortex. Both theories involve the prefrontal cortex, but assign it different roles. For GWT, it's part of the audience. For Hot, it's the spotlight operator. The debate shapes how we search for consciousness in the brain. Each theory offers a distinct roadmap for research. Integrated Information Theory, IIT, is another major rival. IIT claims consciousness is a property of any system with a high degree of integrated information, measured by phi. For IIT, consciousness is about structure, not function. A system doesn't need to think or perceive, just be integrated. Hot theory, by contrast, sees consciousness as a cognitive function, thinking about thinking. IUT is panpsychist. Consciousness could exist in brains, computers, or even simple circuits depending on their integration. Hot theory is more conservative, limiting consciousness to systems with metacognition. IIT rejects functionalism. Hot embraces it. For IIT, two systems could act identically but have different conscious experiences if their structures differ. Hot says any system with higher-order thoughts could be conscious, regardless of its physical makeup. The two theories offer radically different maps of where consciousness might be found. Their rivalry drives new experiments and debates. The search for consciousness continues on multiple fronts. Animal consciousness is a major test for Hot theory. Hot links consciousness to metacognition, thinking about one's own mental states. This sets a high bar. Which animals, if any, can do this? If a dog feels pain but can't think "I am in pain," is it conscious? Hot theory says no, but intuition disagrees. Some experiments test animal metacognition, like giving monkeys or dolphins the option to opt out of hard tasks. Success suggests some animals might have basic higher-order thoughts. But critics argue these behaviors could be explained by simple learning, not true metacognition. The debate highlights Hot theory's central tension: set the bar too high, and you deny consciousness to many creatures. Set it too low, and the theory loses meaning. The animal question remains unresolved. Hot theory's strict criteria spark ongoing controversy. Hot theory offers a new lens on the self. If consciousness is built from higher-order thoughts, then the self is a process, not a thing. Our identity is the story we tell ourselves moment by moment through self-referential thoughts. Each time you think "I am happy," you reinforce the I at the center of experience. This view suggests we can reshape our conscious self by changing our higher-order thoughts. Practices like mindfulness and therapy help us rewrite our inner narrative. The self becomes an active process, not a fixed entity. Hot theory reframes consciousness as an ongoing act of self-creation.